What's going on, YouTube? My name is Venator, and I hope you all are having a fantastic Friday. In today's video, we are back on Petit Pieds in a server, continuing the journey of our mighty Allosaurus. And we're going to see if we can hit Prime and maybe take down some big prey. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the action. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like or comment below. It really helps me out. And starting out here, I logged in and finished healing up. Because if you recall from the last time we were on Allo, I nearly got ran down and killed by a group of Kentros. Fortunately though, my buddy Seawick took one for the team and it allowed us to escape and survive to continue playing. And the next time I logged on, I found another smaller Allosaurus to group up with. And right where we logged in, as we were filling some water, a Packy ran by. So I was able to pin this guy and get my food filled back up to a manageable level. And from Pygmy's Puddle, we decided we had two options. Either A, continue over on what we had originally planned and head down to the South Plains River, or B, go back over to West Rail and continue hunting in West Rail in the surrounding jungles. But ultimately, we decided to head back over towards West Rail in the Highland Sanctuary because my buddy, well, he was pretty low on food, and so we weren't that confident that we would be able to find something quickly in South Plains and kill it with just the two of us. And it turned out to be the right call because once we got up here, we found a third Allo to add to our group. So now, we were a prime killing pack. Well, I guess I was close to prime. These guys were still in their growing phase, but we had a group of three, which as Allos is probably one of the most important things to take down large prey. And so to pass the time until these guys got up to at least over the 2-ton range and close to prime, like I was, we made our way over to Landslide Lake. And I was able to get a nice ambush on an unsuspecting Omniraptor. And this raptor looked to be like he was either close to or a prime. He was a good-sized raptor. And he led us to a Carno who had a little baby trike. Not sure what was going on here. Wanted to get the Carno down, but as Carnos are the fastest playable, not the easiest task. You got to get a jump on him, and he saw us coming from a mile away. But at least with that Omniraptor kill, I was able to get my food back up to nearly full. And with the few kills that we were able to scavenge around the sanctuary, Belgast was also at high food. So this was the perfect opportunity to throw down a nest. And this was my first time to actually ever nest as an Allosaurus. And for those that don't play on Petites, or aren't familiar with the systems that they have implemented on the server, nesting increases your social score. So I always like to try and nest here and there when I can. And the nesting process for Allosaurus is pretty straightforward. Once you've paired up, you just gotta place the nest and then find sticks like you normally would. Once you get that baby built up, and all the eggs have incubated and been laid, well, that's pretty straightforward. And while I was waiting on that process, I actually hit prime. And so I took my last two mutations. My last two mutes, I decided to go with faster healing and congenital. I went with a full survival build on this guy, with my first two mutations being slower hunger drain and increased bleed resistance. And I know I might be sacrificing some damage to all you PvP guys out there. Please look away. But I was really focused on survival because I'm not a land dino expert by any means. And I find myself fairly often in bad situations. So I like to increase my longevity as much as possible. But anyway, after we got the babies in and started feeding them, our food started to go down fairly quick. And it turns out one of the guys we nested in, he'd actually just died on his Stegosaurus, not too far away from here, near the compound. which, happy coincidence, or maybe he saw an Allo egg coming and just threw himself off the cliff. Either way, I will take it. And so we decided to set out and search for this promise of a big meal. And sure enough, when we made it to the next compound, I smelled some A diet. But as it turns out, well, the stegocorpse was all the way at the top of this mountainside. Not really sure how this guy got up there or how he killed himself, but at first I thought this body was going to be pretty tricky to get to. And then if you did notice, it was just a quick second that the baby Rex was shown, but there was also a little Rex over here trying to get up to this body, and so Belgast obviously tried to pursue to get those coins, because if you don't know and haven't played on Petites, any Rex that you kill, you get a reward. So big incentive to hunt those Rexes. But once I got to the stego body, it didn't allow me to eat, and I slid right back down the hill. Fortunately though, that was just a shadow of the body up top, and it truly was down here closer to the bottom and allowed us to eat. So after we filled up our hunger, we headed back to the nest to continue feeding our new family of hatchling Allosaurus. But in the process, I noticed a small Sarah. And, well, this guy, he tried to make a run for it and then tried to make a play of going in the middle of the lake. I didn't know for 100% sure if there was a dino in here, but I was fairly confident there wasn't, because we had all been drinking from all around this place. So I followed him in, got the kill, and then drugged the body out to continue feeding our family. But after that, that was the end of the family. The hatchlings all moved on, and we adopted one of them to fill our third slot in our pack. And as we were making our way through the West Rail Forest on this little path that connects Highlands and West Rail, we found 2 Triceratops. We thought about trying to fight it, but since it was really just a 2v2, we knew there was probably no way that we came out of this fight on top, so we just disengaged. But these guys were determined and weren't really giving up. They continued chasing us, and could tell they kind of wanted to fight, so I tried to go in for a claw swipe. Well, as you can see, I took a hit. Didn't put me to wounded, but, well, after that, kind of made me disinterested. And then we had this Sarah roll up. I was already low on stamina. I knew probably wasn't going to get the trikes down. Had to hit him with a little juke and keep continuing after this Sarah. But if you can tell, he does have a skin. Can't really tell which one. It's either the arena or the bloodbath skin. Both are red, I believe. I don't know. Not really a skin pro, but either way, burned the rest of my stamina to chase this guy down. And this Sarah would continue to allow us to hang out in the area, which, as you will see, will be very important. And once I had found a bush to lay down in to regain my stamina and heal off this little bleed I had, something happened that I honestly hadn't experienced on Petite's server yet. And that was capturing a mysterious egg. So, for those of you that either don't really dabble in the skins, can't really say I do a ton either, or really don't play on Petites, they have a system that spawns random mysterious eggs anywhere on the map. And you can see their location on the live map. But here, I wasn't looking at the live map, and I just got lucky and started collecting them. That was the first time I had ever seen that message pop up. And I had no idea where the egg was, but we were close enough that we were going to go for this egg because you get a reward if you capture it, whether that be a skin or coins. You get something, and it's a cool incentive to try and hold down an area. Now, these Triceratops, they do have apex eggs, so they are not allowed to capture mysterious eggs, I believe. But this Tri could track down my friend, so I baited him back to me and then stam dumped down this hill to draw him well away from my friend so he could regain his stamina and heal, because he was on death's door over there, my boy Velgast. And this trike, they had been sprinting so much, so I just did a little stamina dump to try and lure this guy down the hill. And then once I was confident that he was going to continue following me, I just burned the rest of my stamina as soon as he kind of got close to me. In the jungle, in the trees like this, it's easy to lose people if you know what you're doing. So a strategy of mine is to use a lot of stam, especially on something slower like this, and then break line of sight. All these bushes and the elevation change, I can go left, right, keep running, and I've essentially broken the line of sight, and he's going to have no idea which way I kept going. So as soon as my stamina was getting pretty low, I wanted to leave a little bit in the tank just in case somehow he tracked me to this bush. But either way, I got away. But unfortunately, the other Triceratops had circled back around. So while I had been drawing one of them away, the other one was actually searching in the forest right next to my friends. They were up there on the egg, and I wanted to be a part of the capture, so I was kind of in a hurry to get back to them. At this point, I didn't realize how long it took to actually capture an egg, which, just so you know, it takes quite a while. I don't know the exact time, but it was a solid like 20 or 30 minutes. But eventually, this Triceratops passed on by, and I was able to make my way back up to my group and continue helping capture this egg. I don't really know if numbers on the egg makes any difference, or if it just is a flat rate for capturing, or if it's species based. I really don't know a lot about the mysterious egg, so I'm sure some of you guys that are skin pros and frequent on petites probably know more about this than me and can let me know down below. Either way, one of them did find the actual egg, and it was in this bush. You can kind of see it right there, the big white blob in the middle of this bush. So we sat down around and waited for the clock to tick down. And then finally, sure enough, we captured it, and we were rewarded with 307 coins, which, as you guys know, can be used to purchase either dino vouchers or skins on their server. So it was time to head out, and I just had to include this. Had a funny little baby Omni just jump right into my pin and somehow escape. And he was spamming that space bar and unfortunately jumped right back into my pin, and well, it just dumped him right under the map, so couldn't even fill up. As you can see, getting pretty low on food, so we had to really try and make some ground and head down to South Plains to see if we could find something to eat, because we were not having much luck up here in West Braille. But the group needed water first, so we made a quick little run back over to Landslide Lake. And that's where I found another little Sarah. This guy, although not much, would help hold off starvation. And the dino in me just couldn't let the food go. So the hill sliding kind of slowed me down, but as the last Sarah before, he tried to escape into the pond. And, you know, it was A for effort, but wasn't going to save him anything. Got the kill, drug him out, was able to fill us up a little bit, but I had to head back to the sanctuary, scavenge a quick body before we could move on. You got to be careful going in these sanctuaries in Petite server because they have a sanctuary debuff. As you saw, I got hit with the first message, and at the end of eating this, I'll get hit with the second one. And on the third one, that's when you take the penalty. So you can get 2 warnings and then you got to head out. But anyway, as you can see, we made it to South Plains River just as I was about to be on red food. And the third player in our group, well, he found a corpse down there near the water. I personally wasn't going to risk it, but since he went down there and didn't get grabbed by a dino, I figured had to be safe. But then I pulled a classic fall down the cliff too fast. I thought the sliding mechanic would slow me down. Fortunately, it did not, and put me on force screen and snapped my legs. But I was able to fill up, and then it was into a bush to hide and heal and repair my broken leg for probably the next 15-20 minutes. Because as an Allosaurus, you got to be able to take some hits, so it's not really worth trying to fight anything when you're really low health. After I was healed up, at least off wounded, my group informed me that they had a Kentro marooned on a rock and required my assistance. And thankfully, I'd healed up enough that I felt like I could at least help with the fight. My boys had already taken a hit or two, so they definitely needed the backup. And sure enough, this guy was in a very difficult spot to reach. I thought maybe I was tall enough that I'd be able to land some bites on him, or at least his feet, from down low. And after a while of probing the rock, seeing if I could land any hits from any angle without having to go up, I just decided that I really had no other option. So I figured I might as well just send it. And lucky for me, I'm not really sure what happened right there. It's like my pin registered first, and then he swung his tail, but it didn't land or damage me. And I don't know if the stamina, his threshold was low enough that it allowed me to pin him, or what happened. But either way, this Kentro kill was much needed. Fortunately though, it fell in a rock, so now the trick was to try and get it out. But at least since one of us was able to eat on it, I knew that I just had to get to a spot where I could grab it. You know, they say that they fixed some of the organ bugs, and they did at least, I think, improve the system, but I still just run into a ton of issues, like you could see right here. The body just completely disappeared. And then picking up organs, it still is just a huge pain. As you can see, I try and pick them up and they fall out of our mouths, and there's just like, I don't know, it still just doesn't feel great. I thought that they had kind of fixed this, but seemingly, I don't know if it was the last hotfix broke it again or what. But yeah, organs not fixed. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize that my two friends here had finished the body. And since I couldn't see it, I just started eating because I needed to fill up my stomach. Well, it had turned to bones, and yep, that's right, I got vomit sickness. So it was kind of back to square one. I was low on food, low on water, and I was going to plan to run up to the little puddle up by the dome. But hey, these guys, they wanted to drink here, and they were bold. They didn't really know of my Dino experience, and I thoroughly warned them that drinking here was a horrendous idea. But as long as they went first, hey, I'll follow suit. So I went around to this rock and tried to get in the safest spot I could. That way, if there was a croc in here, hopefully he would grab one of them, because I thought this was a horrible idea, and I'm genuinely surprised that no one got grabbed. But hey, you get lucky every once in a while. And then we made our way out to the plains, where we found a dibble. And if you're wondering why my hunger is suddenly full, well, I was really afraid that we weren't going to find anything. My hunger was on about 5%, and so I ate an Allo body. We had found an Allo corpse, and since I was already primed, there was really no reason to avoid going infertile, and it was better than starving. So did that, but little did I know we would get a dibble not too long after. Now, would I have been on red hunger? Don't really know, but I Either way, this food will fill up my pack. And then we came to our final boss fight. A very large prime triceratops. And this guy had a fancy skin, and by the look of his spar mode ability, he seemed to be a very experienced trike. Now I take that back. I don't know if this guy was prime. I'm not the best at identifying trikes, but hey, he was big enough, and we had set the goal that we wanted to kill this guy via bleed and not use the pin system, which turns out, as you guys are going to see, not the best choice. I just jumped on right here to try and save my boy, but unfortunately he got baited into an attack and, well, he went down. And funny enough, after watching that, I thought that looked like an absolute blast, so I'm gonna make a similar mistake. As you guys have heard me say, I am by no means a pro land dino player. Of all my experience on land dinos, I have by far the most on Rex, so maneuvering as a small dino, I'm just not the best at. As you can see, I was trying to do the alt claw swipes, and, well, he got me with that spar stance switching. I don't even know how you do it. And he turned a lot quicker around the tree, was able to knock me down, and once you're knocked down, that's pretty much it. GG's to that guy. He played it really well, and I played it really bad. But anyway, that's just how the Isle goes. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all next time, and happy hunting.